Coming up on 5 Minute News. Moments of silence honour George Floyd 1 year later. GOP fails to reprimand Greene over Holocaust comments. And board fight at Exxon intensifies spotlight on climate change. It's Wednesday, May 26. I'm Anthony Davis. A family-friendly street festival, musical performances and moments of silence were held on Tuesday to honour George Floyd and mark the year since he died at the hands of Minneapolis police, a death captured on wrenching bystander video that galvanised the racial justice movement and continues to bring calls for change a year later. Floyd's sister Bridget and other family members held a moment of silence at a celebration of life event at a downtown Minneapolis park that included music, food trucks, and a pop-up vaccination stand. A few miles away at the site of the intersection where Floyd died, dozens of people gathered around a steel fist sculpture and kneeled for several minutes, symbolic of the 9 minutes 29 seconds during which Floyd was pinned to the ground. It's been a troubling year, a long year, Bridget Floyd told the crowd in downtown Minneapolis, but we made it. The love is very outpouring today. The love is here. George is here. Other members of Floyd's family met with President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris in Washington, who urged Congress to quickly pass a law in Floyd's name that would bring changes to policing. A moment of silence to honour Floyd was also held in New York, and a rally was held in Los Angeles. Globally, a rally took place in Germany, and Floyd's death was marked by US embassies in Greece and Spain. Hours before the festivities began in Minneapolis, the intersection where Floyd died was briefly disrupted by the sound of gunfire. Like many other major cities, Minneapolis has been struggling with rising gun violence. A 6-year-old girl was fatally shot and 2 other children wounded in recent weeks. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey last week unveiled sweeping public safety proposals aimed at fixing the problem. Other groups are pursuing a more radical remaking of the police department. Republican leaders failed to fully condemn GOP Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene on Tuesday, calling her comments comparing COVID-19 safety measures like mask wearing to the treatment of Jews in Nazi Germany appalling, but didn't go further than that regarding her position within the party. Marjorie is wrong, and her intentional decision to compare the horrors of the Holocaust with wearing masks is appalling, House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy said in a brief online statement, which stopped short of calling for Greene to face disciplinary measures. Greene, a conservative firebrand from Georgia and ally of former President Donald Trump, has thrived on stirring controversy, pushing conspiracy theories and forcefully confronting her colleagues since taking her seat in the House in January. But until now, Republican leaders have proven hesitant to criticize her and refused to join with Democrats earlier this year when they voted to strip her of her committee assignments. Their rebuke on Tuesday came after Greene made an appearance on a conservative podcast and excoriated safety protocols adopted by House Democrats, including a requirement that masks be worn on the House floor. She also called House Speaker Nancy Pelosi mentally ill and suggested that the rules were comparable to the treatment of Jews during the Holocaust. On Tuesday, she tweeted out a news story about a grocery store chain that plans to allow vaccinated employees to go maskless. Those who do would have a logo on their name tags indicating they had been vaccinated. Vaccinated employees get a vaccination logo just like the Nazis forced Jewish people to wear a gold star, Greene tweeted. Pelosi, who previously suggested that Greene could face an ethics inquiry, called her comments so beyond reprehensible that they should have no place in our country. ExxonMobil is facing a major challenge from a group of investors in one of the biggest fights a corporate boardroom has endured over its stance on climate change, an issue of rising urgency for many shareholders. The investor group is pushing to replace 4 of the oil giant's board members with executives they say are better suited to both strengthen the company's finances and lead it through the transition to cleaner energy. The fight represents a moment of reckoning for major publicly traded companies to address the global crisis. Engine Number 1, the name of the hedge fund that has mounted the challenge, owns just a sliver of Exxon's shares. But the dissident slate of board members it has put forward commands the backing of some of the country's most powerful institutional investors, including the largest public pension funds. Regardless of the outcome of the shareholder vote, the challenge reflects momentum among consumers, investors, and government leaders around the globe to pivot away from fossil fuels and invest in a future where energy needs are increasingly met using renewable sources. Engine Number 1 wants Exxon to refresh its board with directors who have a track record of managing change in the energy sector. It also argues that the company lacks a credible strategy to create value in a decarbonizing world, and that its board lacks people with experience in successfully revamping an energy giant. You can subscribe to 5 Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5 Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen Podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.